Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, Flying with Mike is getting a stream in again. We're trying to get as many as we can before Christmas, um, because, well, let's be frank. Come Thursday, Friday, while yet I'm off, family matters will heavily take precedence. We're gonna try to get this one in today. Um, If you're not familiar with these airports, especially with Flying with Mike, well, they're general aviation airports. We don't do a lot of that here. We're usually caught in the tube liners. Occasionally, we might put the C90 Beach 100 in the air, or the Citation 10 that came with X-Plane 12. We haven't flown either of those in a while, and with the latest updates, they might be interesting to revisit. So who knows? We may pop one of those here in the next coming weeks or days. But anyway, welcome in. We are flying from Johnston County Regional Airport in North Carolina to Sky Manor Airport. Now, I'm going to tell you, most of you will have no idea where Sky Manor is because I didn't. The only reason I know is I know people in that region. So I thought, what the heck, let's give it a shot. We've flown in there on stream, I think, a couple of times. Or I may have flown it just to see what it's like. I don't know. But, well, we're going to see it today on stream. All right, why Johnston County? Well, you know me and TV shows. We're not going to get into what it was. They kind of, sort of, but not the reason why, featured this airport in a show. And very unique, I'm going to say terminal, but not really sure if you would call it a terminal because there are no regional flights in here or anything like that. It's strictly general aviation. The biggest that might come in are corporate jets. The airport itself is, if you look on a map, again, use the ICAO, KJNX, Kilo, Juliet, November, X-ray, south and east of Raleigh, Durham. And we're going to haul up to Sky Manor, which is kind of east of Allentown. No, we're not going to stop by Billy Joel's place. Sorry, folks. You know. Well, what's the Jersey guy? Can't think of his name right now. Oh, I know my sister's yelling at me right now. But anyway, that's okay. I'm used to it. Anyway, so we're going to, this is kind of a long flight, just so you're aware. Now, normally in a 737 Airbus type aircraft flight like this, that's right at 367 miles. Yeah, we get the gear up, we get the cruise, sing a song or two, and then we start down. Not this time, it's 2.5 hours of flying. So, yeah, welcome to general aviation flying. By the way, no bathroom on board the plane, so if, you know, we may have to declare an emergency if anyone has to use the restroom. Just kidding. Yeah, welcome to general aviation flying. But that's the cool thing. Oh, look, there's an airport there. In, go to the bathroom, right back up. Okay, we may have to splash some fuel on, but still. So that's general aviation flying, folks. All right, so as you can see, we have a Piper Aero 3 sitting on the line here at Johnston Regional Airport. And I'm going to tell you, I'm half tempted to, but I'm not certain it's smart of filling the tanks. The problem is, here's the problem. SimBrief tells us 333 pounds of fuel. Well, if I do the calculation correct, you guys out there that know more about this, we take 333 and divide it by 6.75, I think's what avgas is. That's 50 gallons of fuel. that seems scary. Not because I'm used to the bigger numbers of fuel, but just kind of seems like there should be. I'm trying to think. Gosh, it's been so long since I've flown an Arrow in pilot command status. I can't remember the burn rate. I'm gonna be safe. All right, with Thronda, you have your usual little, click the little icon down here and you get the menu. We've got it set for 50. We're gonna go up to 60. And yes, that means we could have to still divert. Cool thing is, I can and just might file this VFR. Yeah, I know IFR is always more fun because then you get to interact with the controllers. However, there are these fun little things that come up called Class B airspace. And I'm kind of looking to see how well that shows up here. I think it'll be fine. I think we will go VFR. So let's get that going. So let's bring Sim Toolkit up while we talk about it. All right, there you have it. And I am right. Oh, doggone it. Now I know what I was looking for. No, still not. Trying to get this out of night mode. For some silly reason. I can't. So, well, we'll hope for it. Oh, whoa, how'd we get a red line? Ooh. There we go. Back to something. Oh, that's still a little not right. Okay, we'll go with that. I'll keep messing around with it. But I'm trying to get this back into light mode, and I know it's so simple, yet if it's simple, then of course flying with Mike won't catch it. Anyway, so today's flight, 2 people, actually they're saying 3. I said 2, but anyway, 113 pounds of cargo. Okay, I could go with that. So about 600 pounds payload. Fuel 333. We talked about that. We're going to run 60 gallons of fuel in the plane. That, by the way, is roughly 60 times 6.5, 390, just shy 400. I think we're okay there. If not, plenty of airports to glide into, land into. And here's our lovely VFR that are out. Yeah. Kind of looks, are we sure we're not in Europe? Anyway, 75% power, 5,000 feet. I was planning to go a little higher. Well, we'll stick to 5,000. That's an IFR flight plan. Not that one. The next one's the weather. Winds here are variable at 5, 10-mile visibility, and as we've been seeing, clear skies, 48, 49 degrees Fahrenheit. Down or up in Jersey. Also a clear sky. What's going on in Jersey? How'd you guys get a clear sky? But it's cold, 32 degrees. 240. I think that's the way I want to land in there. We'll see. And pretty high barometric pressures. All right, let's do this and this. Of course you know, you crack me up. I was just on you yesterday, and yet you want me to log back in today? All right, so we are going to go IFR, and we have selected Allentown, as I said, as our alternate today. All right, we're going to leave a lot of these blank just because we feel like it. Let's do that. Yeah, you know, we can do this. No, I'm not touching nav. Not knowing what I'm setting us up for, so no. File. We are November 1089, Quebec. All right, and all right, so we got a squawk 7070. Boy, that scares me when they put me so close to the nasty ones. But we will get that going here soon. All right, let's see. We got the luggage. There it is. And we'll go ahead and pop the doors. Pull the plugs. Okay, and I'll tell you, some of me still says load her up full of fuel. That's the big thing you're going to find with this plane is fuel management. Not as complicated as the 747-200, but yet you got to watch what you're doing here. All right, so let's pop in here. Nice. Everyone loves a cold and dark panel. You know, nice, easy to work with. Getting re-familiarized. Okay, so let's pop the master switch on. Start firing up our G5 setup here. And it's pretty much basic except for this glass and this alcoholic glass. I know it's not. And let me get some nav lights on. Okay. All right. Avionics. Hang on. Let's come in here. Here comes the Radedios. Oh, wow. Never had to do that before. All right. Now, my one thing I don't like, I wish one of these could have been a 530 instead of two 430 GPSs. But again, nobody ever asks me. JNX, so we'll just click, enter, flight plan, and click it. Ooh, what's this? Terrain? Ooh, we have weather. Ooh, that's just special. I think I read that somewhere. That might have came with 4.0. All right, so we'll go flight plan here. Click over one, push, click down. Now, many ask me, why do you duplicate? Well, if this one goes kapooey, I have this one to fall back on. All right, now, I'm going to bring, going to warm the engine up here soon so I don't run this battery out, but hang on a second. Let's bring charts in real quick. Ooh, he's got it set on sectional charts. All right, here's our airport. Again, Raleigh, Durham here, Charlotte in this direction. Fayetteville with Pope and all of that. So you get kind of a lay of the land where we are. Kind of pan out a little. See Raleigh, Fayetteville, Seymour, Johnston Air Base. Can't think of the name of the town it's in, but anyway. But yeah, it gives you an idea, you know, around the area. All right, we're going to import the flight from SimBrief and download it. And that's what it's going to look like. Now we're going to bring VATSIM on. And the only, actually, we have no concerns at the moment. Realize we're only going to be flying at about 100 to 100 and no more than 40 indicated airspeed, especially if we stick it at 5,000. I may go up to 7,000. We'll see. See how the plane's doing. All right, no departures and 3 approaches available into Sky Manor, and there's our alternate, Allentown. Okay, so now that we've seen the route, we kind of know we're going to go pretty much north out of here. Let's look at the airport. Get our alignment here. With the winds variable. Hey, original Godspeed. Welcome aboard. Yeah, I know. You're probably, pick yourself off the ground. It's not a 737 or a 747 or an Airbus. It's a Piper. It's the Pied Piper of North Carolina. All right, so since we got a variable wind, let's just plan on going off 2-1. So we will set our heading. Two, 1, 2. All right, and that'll get us set and ready to go. I think so. The only thing we have left to do is punch in that squawk code. Squawk code again, 70 70. And we're green. Okay, we need COM 2. All right, and I think we're all set, ready to fire up. We turn the air conditioner on here. Welcome. Welcome to the old world. All right, checklist for start. Brakes are set, yes. Circuit breakers are in. There are so many circuit breakers. I don't know if we can keep track of them all. It's a lot. Alternate airs closed. Prop full increase. Avionics will turn off for now. And fuel selector on the desired tank. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Right, left. Let's go left. Let's burn the right side down first. I'm sorry. And always make sure the white line where it's at, if it's pointed here, you will not get started. It's off. Okay, here we go. Throttle. Let's open it up a half. Oh, yep, open up a ½ inch. That's about right. Hey, and alternator switch, battery switch on, fuel pump. Oh, got it. Oh, it's been so long. Oh, there it is. And mixture rich. Then idle. Clear prop. And by the way, if you have it at about a ½ inch on the throttle, you're right about where you need to be RPM wise for the warm-up. $1,400 to $1,500. We're just shy of it, so we're going to let her warm up. All right, now we can bring the radios back on. Of course, make sure we double check everything. That's good. ADF we'll try never to use. All right, let's look real quick at the weather, and then I'll finally get rid of charts for you. Sorry about that. 070 at 4. I'm still going 2-1 clear. 3055. Okay. All right. All right, I know it's in the 40s here. Turn the air conditioning off. Now, one cool thing about Fronda. One is this, is we can make it even quieter. Put your headsets on. Or we can leave it like that. Just clicking here will bring the headset. Here's your fuel indications. Remember, we're going to start right, and what I do is about 5, maybe 10 gallons, switch over, 5, 10 gallons, switch over, switch over, switch over. It's been so long since I've flown pilot and command here, real world. I'm hoping I'm doing it right. Now, let's take a look at that stick real quick. A lot of buttons here you can assign. The big one right there, that one disengages the autopilot, your trim up, down, CWS, oh, I can't remember that one. So trim looks good. We're ready to taxi out. Let's get the common traffic frequency here of 12275. Correction, 725. Okay, get Unicom set after takeoff. All right. Okay, what we'll do is we'll kind of come off, fly 120, then back up 030, and then exit on course. Okay, that's our game plan for takeoff. Here we go. The Johnstown Regional Area Traffic, November 1089, Quebec, Piper Arrow, taxi to 21. Okay, let's run it up a little bit here. Okay, the only thing I wanted to check. All right, let's do our ground checks. Prop full increase throttle, 2000 RPM. Cool thing is we actually have RPM right here. Just get it in the ballpark. All right. Magnetos can only drop 175 per. That's good. Okay, and no different than 50 between, and they were fine there. Now we're going to check oil temperatures, oil pressures, all in the green, nothing yellow or red or low. And finally, let's exercise the prop. Now, very important we do this. This is what we'll use to get us. The blade will actually spin at the same RPM the whole time. Okay, and alternate air. Okay. And electric fuel pump off. And retard the throttle. Okay, oil pressure, cylinder heats all look good, fuel looks good. And master switch, alternate switch on. Fuel selector, proper tank, electric fuel pump on for takeoff. Just zooming in so I can see better. Engine gauges look good. Alternate engine gauges look good. Okay. And seat back set, mixture full rich, prop set, belt snapped, empty seats fastened. We're going to do no flaps. It's 5,500 feet. Trim, set, controls are free. And doors latched and air conditioner off. There are two latches. One and 2. That snugs it to the plane. And normal takeoff, flap set, trim set, accelerate 65, 75, control wheel, back pressure slightly to rotate, climb smoothly into attitude. All right. A lot better than yesterday, wouldn't you say? Okay, pitot heat. Let me just scan something real quick. All right, Godspeed. Oh, where are you hiding? Here we go. Johnston Regional Traffic, November 1089, Quebec, departing 21 to the north. Now, when we put power to the aircraft, do it slowly, not slowly, but do it in a way that you know you can keep the plane under control. The torque up there is pretty good. Now, if you fly, you know, for those of you in the sim world that love flying like P-51s or F-4U Corsairs or P-47s, you will learn that quickly. Well, let's go, Mr. Godspeed. Let's get flying. Okay, we are airborne. Don't go quick for the landing gear, because if that engine would quit right now, guess what? You're gonna not have the ability to get those wheels back down. Now bring it up. Once you've successfully gotten past the end of the runway. I gotta remember in this thing where you set the altitude. All right, we are getting on course. It's gonna get noisy. That's where we just took off. Now without the headset. Not too bad. I am on VATSIM. Yes, sir. And let's make the switch to Unicom. First. And Johnston regional traffic, Piper 1089 Quebec, leaving your area to the north. Good day. Good day. And we are on our way. Cool thing is, this is what the autopilot was made for. Flights like this, when you're flying in and around your airport, a lot of times you won't use the autopilot, but you know, it is fun for at least this part of the flight. Let me see if I've got any information on proper climb settings. How we doing speed-wise? We're a little slow. Always want to glance down, look at your fuel. Let's see if this works. Wow, we actually got the route on here. Now, if we could just get a sectional chart. Nope. We'd be in business, but that looks good. We actually got a route on here. How about that? All right, we're going to try, like I said, I would personally like to do 7,000, but if 5,000's, you know, a good enough number, we'll just go at it. See if I have to do anything. Ah, look at that. It's going to hold the altitude so nicely. All we have to do is get our en route altimeter settings and keep it real. Okay, we're in cruise. We'll let the plane settle into a speed here in a minute. All right, we're actually getting about 129 over the ground. And I'm seeing if we can get a true airspeed. We can get that over here usually. Oh, wow. I've never seen half of this stuff. Holy mackerel. Huh. Interesting what we can do. I'm going to definitely utilize that. Hang on a second. Although I don't think there's any weather for us to worry about, but still, look at what I could do now. Huh. All right. Well, interesting learning here today. Now, the weather radar is through the GPS. There is no weather radar on this plane. How you would know that, you'd see a bubble out here or out here, most likely over here, because you always have a pilot. Okay, people don't need to know where I am. All right, let's see where we are. $30.56. Okay, so we'll make the slight incremental increase as we turn on course to Manor. And welcome to the flight, folks. It's a rather long one for a shorter flight, if you will. Nice little airport up here. Let's see who that might be. Lynchburg. Oh no, Triangle North. Sorry. How'd I get Lynchburg out of that? Lewisburg. Oh, my bad. Another general aviation airport, this time north and west of the Raleigh area. All right, so enjoy the ride, folks. We've got 2.5 hours to go. You heard it. In this little booger. All right, I think we've had enough of the outside air. Whew, that was loud. I've hopefully calmed it down for you all. I wish I could for myself, but we got this little thing called a volume thing on our headset, so we'll crank it down. But anyway, welcome aboard Flying with Mike. Today, Thronda Pabia Aero 3 from Johnston Regional Airport in I believe is it Statesville, North Carolina? Smithfield, North Carolina, to November 40. It's an interesting way they classify some airports. Some of those that have 3 characters, pop a K on the front, you'll find it. But November 40, Sky Manor Airport, it's in Pittstown, New Jersey. So, narrow, kind of a narrow runway, at least for me. For some of you out there, piece of cake, we'll get her right in, no problem. In real world, you had to kind of come over some high wire power lines and then descend, and I think that's the runway we're on today. So, because I think we were landing to the west the one time I flew in there, the only time in the last 40 plus years, well, second time in the last 40 years I've flown, but not as pilot in command, as pilot in training. I don't think that's in the logbook, although, you know, they ought to. No. But anyway, it was a fun flight. Don't get me wrong. In a Piper Aero, really, when you look at it after not being in a cockpit in that capacity for 40 years, you think you're doing an over the 50-foot landing, you know, 50-foot obstacle landing, but you're really not. But I'll tell you, that's what I thought to start with. I'm like, holy crap, this is stuff a long time ago I learned. So, yeah, and as I've said in the past, if I were to try to get current again, I have no idea the price tag, because personally, I think I would like to attend ground school just to get back up to speed with how much airspace has changed, to make sure this world called flight simming doesn't impede on the real world. Although the two should be pretty close, I think there's a lot of differences. So that's one way. 2, I want to fly with a flight instructor several hours to get refamiliar with not only the aircraft and procedures, emergency procedures, but just to be comfortable before he would sign off my biannual. Oh, and of course to have the poke and prod from the doctor done, the good old medical. So, but anyway, we are on our way. Enough about me. Let's talk about you. It's Christmas. Okay, in a couple of days, but it's Christmas, and what a great time of the year. And I really hope y'all are finding ways to make it merry, even if it may be more blue than a Merry Christmas. Because, folks, what a time of the year when people actually, you know, it does seem a little, you know, working first time directly in a sort of kind of, maybe you'd call it retail grocery store, seeing people a little different from both employee and customer, and it is kind of a new thing for me, always being in the service mostly portion industry, where, you know, unfortunately, we got to be the ones to say, hey, you can't do that. And well, it's Christmas. Okay, you can't do that. You know, or driving a truck. So, and I hate to break it to you, the roads they're still just as mean as ever when you are on the roads. So, anyway, it's just kind of neat to see, like I say, the sort of kind of, I guess you'd call it retail in a grocery store atmosphere. Haven't seen the Schwarzenegger and Sinbad battles for the toy, or I think wasn't Tim Allen in something like that too? But yeah, they're funny, they're real in some places. So, and if I see Schwarzenegger coming after a toy, I go, here, you just have it. I don't need it that much. So anyway, but yeah, it's kind of a great time of the year for me. And while I noticed we had the last flight's verse of the day up there, I found one. It's not the one that I really wanted, and I'm going, you know, my mind is just not going right and remembering which one it is. But there's a great verse for today. Something to really, I want you to think about. And if you bear with me, I got some notes on this that are actually, they kind of put me in a different thought process. And they come from versions of the Bible I try to kind of stay away, like the Phillips or the Message, because each one eliminates different elements that are very crucial in the Bible for whatever reason. I don't know, but they do. But here's Phillips, and let's just listen to how Philippians 2:8 is written. And I'd like to get the Bible for Phillips, the Phillips version, to see this, because I think they're more of not verse oriented, but commentary oriented. Let Christ himself be your example as to what your attitude should be. For he, who had always been God by nature, did not cling to his prerogative as God's equal, but stripped himself of all privilege by consenting to be a slave by nature and being born as a mortal man. Having become a man, he humbled himself by living a life of utter obedience, even to the extent of dying, and the death that he died was a death of a common criminal. That is why God has now lifted him so high and has given him the name beyond all names, so that at the name of Jesus every knee shall bow, whether in heaven or earth or under the earth. And that is why in the end every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is the Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Like I said, I would love to get this version of the Bible. I know the Message is also commentary-like orientation, but it's kind of interesting to see them take a very simple verse, like the Philippians 2:8. And in the New International, it reads, because it's the closest to where I am, being found in the appearance as man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. That little verse in the Phillips is 4 or 5 lines of explanation plus the verse. Kind of like that. That was a really good one. The Message isn't far much different, but it, you know, that opening statement, think of this: Christ had always been God by nature. He did not cling to his prerogative as God's equal, but he stripped himself. Now my words, came down as not only a mortal man, but the most fragile, a baby, lived a life as a mortal man. Think of that. This is someone who could have just came down, and this is what many think the Messiah was going to do. Come down and be like King David right off the get-go and boot Rome back to Italy. No, he had even bigger ideas in mind. He was going to conquer sin for us. And did by dying a death on a cross that a common criminal does. And in this case was innocent. Oh, what to think? You know, here you are one day, you come up with this, you have this grand scheme to get rid of sin. But you have to acknowledge what God, Jesus, has done, the second head of the God triunion. And rose above sin. Lives forever. Hey, folks, there you have it. All wrapped up in this nice little bundle called The Baby in the Manger, Jesus. Just love that. And I love how he said, just let Christ himself be your example as to what your attitude should be. Should be joyful. Joyful. God did this for us. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas with that. Just keep that in the back of your mind, what Christ, one, gave up, but came down to push us, to help us get past sin. Not to defeat the evils of the world out there. The only evil of the world he had envisioned to beat was the original sin, and that is sin. So he did it. He died on a cross for us. His blood is our redemption, and he rose from the grave, now sitteth at the right hand of God the Father. And as the Philip says, every knee shall bow at the name of Jesus. Every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is the Lord. And that will happen, folks. No matter how staunch against Jesus you are, that day is coming. And oh, what a day it'll be. Amen. I think I heard a couple amens out there. All right, we got about 2 hours to go, folks. I will. Hey, Iberg 757. Thank you for the amen. Thank you. I will be right back. I'm going to go visit with a granddaughter for a few moments. I know I can't for very long because you know those guys at VATSIM just, oh, there's a pilot away. I'm going to come up and he'll answer me. Be right back. Well, we're back with you. It looks like we're headed towards Richmond, Virginia right now. Working our way up towards, I guess it's northern Jersey. And up by Easton, Allentown area. So, how is, we just talked about Christmas. How is it in your life? How is this great holiday coming up Thursday looking for you all? I know some are a bit on the blue side, be it, nobody around. I get that, or just lost loved ones, or jobs, or a whole litany of reasons for why they call it a blue Christmas. But I really hope you can find a way to see the joy in what's coming. The birth of Jesus some 2,000 years ago. And a story, though, that Jesus, walked among us through many different ways when you go through the Old Testament. And I really hope, I really do hope you have a very Merry Christmas. And enjoy the time. Enjoy maybe the day off. Hey, there's something there to be said about it, unless, of course, you're not paid. Get that one, too. Trust me. But I just hope you have a Merry Christmas. All right, we are, to be exact, somewhere between point A and point B. Lost and found. We are kind of a beam. What is that, Lawrenceville? Lawrenceville and Allen. What is Allen? Looks like Blackstone. I don't know if we've crossed over into Virginia out of North Carolina yet or not, but in an area I have not been through in a long time. So we are still headed, that river, I don't think we've gone anywhere, because that looks just like it did when we took off. Another big lake. Let me see where that is. Oh, here's where it is. Okay, up by Petersburg. Tri-Cities. Okay, just trying to get the lay of the land as we work our way towards Richmond, Virginia. I'm not sure what all that radio traffic was all about. Hang on. Really not sure what all of that was on the chatter on the X-Pilot up there that you saw. Sure, there's rhyme or reason to it. I just don't know it. Anyway, we will proceed. Trying to figure out what river. River Lake or something like that we have up in front of us, and I can't, so. But I think it dumps into the Chesapeake, so that's all that matters. Now we are at 5,000 because going from 0 to 179 degrees on your general course, okay, puts us in what they say are the odd numbered heights. IFR will stay on the 5,000. Now, if I switch to VFR, and believe it or not, I have thought about it, we would either have to climb to 5,500 or descend to 3,500. Now, where we're at, we would be safe to go down to 3,500. One of the ideas, and I may still fly this, was to head over to the Appalachia and fly there to have gotten where I was, or back. But I chose, you know what, let's do it in one flight. So, anyway, we are headed back to Sky Manor Airport, Pittstown, USA. Now, I do know that virtual, let's see, is it USA? Where the heck's my Discord? There it is. I always get there. Yeah, Virtual USA Flying Club just flew their Christmas vacation event. Basically flying into Pewaukee. I think you could take off from wherever you want, but landing in Pewaukee. And yeah, if you're not familiar with the Christmas Vacation movie from National Lampoon, hence the way that worked out. So I just didn't know flying into sometimes Chicago, just, I am still leery of their ATC. I've had some really bad experiences, long waits for clearances and movements. I just am not a fan of some of the operational guidelines, for lack of a better word. I just can't get the right word in my head they work under. So I do tend to steer away from Chicago when there's ATC. Of late, they've been pretty good, but I know it's coming again. There's a couple of other centers in the U.S. that do put me on edge to expect definitely the unexpected. So that's why I get hesitant with the Chicago area. Even though it's only about 300 miles from me. Boy, their ideas, I'd love to chat with VATSIM about them. And, you know, maybe it's just misguided notions on my part, but I see, and I don't like comparing, but when you look at other centers in the U.S., they can handle the kind of traffic Chicago gets a whole lot better. Heck, just look over at Europe. That one puts me on edge just because you're always worried about the language barrier. Oh my gosh, I've only had a couple of issues. And man, it's more ease of flight over there, unless I fly Monday up in Denmark. That's not an ease of flight day. But even Frankfurt, for the most part, I've really, and London, get in, get out, and very little trouble. So anyway, I don't mean to be sour today. I mean, we're 2 days, 3 days out from Christmas, and enjoying this. That's why part of me sometimes thinks of flying VFR when the chance is there. All right, we are crossing. Let's see what we can see out the co-pilot side. Bear with me here. Oh, definitely got to do a fuel tank change. Fuel pump on. Okay, and fuel pump off. Looks good. Okay, it will drop down to... Oh, it dropped a little too low. Probably about 15 or 14 gallons and go from there. I know, I'm just sitting here going, boy, this just doesn't sound good for us. It really doesn't. But again, it's 40 years since last I flew in a Piper Arrow outside the flight sim as pilot in command, so. Tell you the one thing, looking at that, well, let's just show it. Hang on. Now, again, I don't like comparing things, but when I look at VATSPy, that's why I'm doing it right now. Okay, I take it back. My airport isn't showing up there either. Okay. I was trying to figure out why my airport doesn't show up. Huh. Interesting. Wonder why it doesn't. What airport do we have in front of us right now? Richmond. Okay. That's an airport I need to get into again. It's been a while, and I know perfect airline for it. I think that's Richmond. Oh yeah, that's Richmond. And just to verify, no approach facilities up as we traverse the Class B. Yeah, just double checked, okay. But that's wild that the smaller airports don't show on VATSIM radar or VATSpy, or even the Elevatex or Sim Toolkit. Give you a little wider view of what we're flying through. I forget about this now. I forgot I have this ability. Okay, what we're looking at here, I'm sorry for the flickering on the screen there. Let me bring this up top here. Might be a little better to see. Okay, we're looking at the power settings for your best power mixture ratios. What we're looking at here to get 75% power out of this plane. Mixture peak at 100 degrees, that I couldn't tell you if we're near it. But the RPM and manifold, RPM 2500, which about where we're at. 2539, I could adjust a little. However, we should be a little lower on the power. What is it, 24.6? Not bad. So we'll take that. So really, we're cruising along here pretty good. The outside air temperature is 31, 0 Celsius, just below freezing. And we're burning about 12 gallons an hour. And all the temperatures are in the green. RPM's looking good. So, yeah, I'm going to pull back just a smidge more. Wow. How exact. Man, you couldn't do this back in the day. And we're going to smidge back the power a little more. I mean, look at that. We're right in on the numbers. Real tough to have done. You'd have been doing a lot of interpolating, meaning guessing between am I there or am I not. Now, let's push on to the next charts. Okay, best economy. So if I wanted to stretch, now this isn't going to tell me how fast we're going. All this is going to tell me is, okay, if I want 65%, wait, what we got up here? Back up. Best power mixture. Now we're going to go best economy. Well, we'd want to drop 5,000 feet to 23.3. And we would see our gallons per hour lower even more. So here's best power at cruise, 5,000. We said 0, so we'll hit this line. And here's what we're going to true out at. Let's call it 134.5. Call it 135, 134. Okay. And then we got another one for best power cruise at 65%. 5,000. Hit the line. Hang on, I lost it. Boom. About 127, which is what we're, I think, doing. So, I mean, and that's true airspeed. That's not what we're doing over the ground. You lean this thing out, folks, and you'd be shocked. Fuel flow here's 9 gallons an hour. Out of curiosity, just to give you an idea. So 5,000's right across here. We'll go to this line, and that's going to put us at about 117 knots. Okay. So a whole litany of things. Here's the range. 5,000 at 75. We can go just about 655 nautical miles. That includes your takeoff, climb, and descents. Now, if we take that out to 65%, we're going to get about 680. You see how that works now. Why do we have So, and we're running a little more than the 11 point. Yeah, we're doing real good. Here's endurance. But these are in the, this is actually taken from the pilot handbook of the aircraft. Okay, so let's go back to the map for now. So we passed Richmond, we're coming up to the Chesapeake Bay. Reason I did that, now there is no reason. Let's get to the landing. Oh, if we had to glide from 5,000. Oh boy, this one I don't remember how to read. All right, so landing over a 50-foot. See, they get a little hard to read. Okay, so we will need, again, these are charts. Commercial pilots have to know how to read. You got to know all of these numbers. Me, I don't. But anyway, this is all taken from the pilot handbook. Sorry for the strobies. You know what? A little easier on the eye down here. If I do it this way. All right. So that gives you, when it tells you right here, normal maximum power, 75% power set per table, mixture adjusted, and then we begin when we're ready for the landing. Okay. All right, sorry if I bored some, and I do tend to do that. right, we are burning pretty decently through the sky here. Cruising, indicated 128, ground speed 137, and according to Sim Toolkit, our average wind is west, a little west northwestish, 294 at 13. So we are getting a little bump here at this altitude. But yeah, we are cruising along pretty good. Far better than those down on I-95. And definitely around the Beltway. Okay, we're out in the distance. Off that wing is Fredericksburg. That's one of the big GA airports of Washington, D.C., if memory serves. Or is it Manassas? I could be mistaken. But anyway, but yeah, we are. Matter of fact, is that part? I never can remember how the Chesapeake highway that goes in and out of above and below through the Chesapeake Bay area. All right, we are, where's this one going? To Boston. MD-80, okay. I'm kind of curious, hang on. So, yeah, here's the traffic. From X-plane in range, and you can see a lot of them from that MD-88. We got some 350s and all. Well, these are all way up. Oh, wait a minute. Here's one taking off at cruise at 4,800 feet. So yeah, kind of. Let's see what they look like. Hang on. They're at our level. I think he's behind us. All right, let's see. Now the hard part here, getting altimeter settings along the way. Now, if we had set up a flight plan with X-Plane, along the way, we'd be hearing these updates of our altimeter settings. Pretty critical, because now granted, we're only talking 50 feet right now is all we've been bouncing up and down on. But, you know, it could get significant enough that you drop under 100 feet, and then, you know, they're going to let you know. Can't just go, okay, Sky Manor's at this altimeter, we can do this. I don't even know if they have an AWAS. But anyway, you can't set that. Because from this entire 300-mile flight, you know, it just doesn't work that easy. And I'm going to be very upset if someone tells me you can do that through the GPSs. I would not be surprised if the 750 couldn't do that in real world. Because now it can give you the, in the real world, pre-departure clearance or equivalent messages through your GPS from ATC in an airplane this small. Isn't that pretty cool? Let alone, I think you've all may have seen it if you've got Facebook, or I think it's been on YouTube Shorts, any of your social medias, about what seems to be the first actual emergency auto land Garmin has in its avionics suites of a King Air. I think it was out in Denver or somewhere near Denver. Very cool. I heard about this when I worked out at the airport. I heard some kind of systeming coming to very analogous, but much different, obviously, than the ballistic parachutes that are on some of the aircraft now, that passengers, if the pilot becomes incapacitated, could pull, shuts the engine down, deploys a chute, and the airplane would land, instead of crash, would come down under a parachute and land gently enough to not really hurt anyone somewhere. Well, this new system Garmin has is very analogous to it, except for this. It continues to fly. It takes the plane over and begins broadcasting. First off, finds the closest suitable airport to land at, then broadcasts to ATC what's going on, and then auto lands the aircraft. So those of us in flight sim who generally let the autopilot land, that's in essence what this system does. To the point that once you touch down and are on the runway, it shuts the engines off, so that crews can come out and tend to do whatever. I never heard how the pilot did that became incapacitated. I haven't heard that part of the story, but very fascinating. I read about this and going, holy crap, we're able to do that now? And sure enough, the first one occurred in the last week or two. And I guess the system's been active maybe for a few months, maybe a year. And they've had simulated drills with it, making sure the systems are, working and all. But from what I've told, this was the very first actual, oh my God, averted. Unlike what happened in Statesville, North Carolina. I have no idea what happened there. But what a tragedy. But still, this marks the beginning of, some interesting things. We could maybe I'll see it in my lifetime. Many of you will see it in your lifetime, where you very well could be picked up Instead of driving your car, you get picked up in a plane, whisked off to work, dropped off, and away it goes. Kind of like a new kind of Uber. So, very fascinating. I think they got a long way to go still on that, but who knows? They've been doing a lot of different testings and some amazing technology coming out. You just saw 2 of them. When the Cirrus company put the ballistic parachutes on their aircraft, what a game changer that was when that first emergency happened, and now the Autoland. Very, very fascinating. Alright, well, we're back with you. I was doing a little looking at the plane and noticed something that I remembered from 40 years ago. After we set our altimeter there. Forgetting that I had muted my mic. Sorry about that. Right here, hang on, is a pitot tube. Okay, we all, you know, that's what helps your airspeed and all of that. So is this one. What? Two on a Piper. Let me explain, and I don't know if Rhonda has this installed. I really don't. It's a cool system and a cute story that goes with it. Okay, your primary pitot is right here. This is the one for airspeed and altitude, all of that good stuff, okay? This one, I can hear you go, that's just a backup. It could be, but its main function are these right here. One over there, one up in here. Landing gear. It's an automatic landing gear extension. The theory is if you don't disable it, you'll never belly land the airplane. Because once you get, what was it, 80, 85 knots, it's supposed to deploy the landing gear. If you haven't moved the switch down. There is a way to disable it in the cockpit. There, as we all know, pilots have this ego about them. I'll never forget that. Never, never, never. Well, at the Aero Club that I flew these at, I can't remember if it was one of theirs or his own. I think it was his own. He decided to flip the switch to disable because I am so good and will never forget the landing gear. Next flight he belly land. It wasn't very long that his ego got put in check. He belly landed it the next flight and learned that's not a bad thing to have. But yeah, there's some neat things on these aircraft that are, you know, I could just see someone disable that auto land feature in Garmin and the very next flight become incapacitated and the plane crashes because, well, the passengers couldn't put it in auto land. Or the ballistic parachutes in the Cirrus. So, and many aircraft, many people have opted to install those. How they do it into their aircraft, I don't know. But they do. And the ballistic chute is a really good thing for airplanes like this. So, and many of the new aircraft that come off the line have them. So, but there's a good shot of the Piper Aero tree. Yeah, couldn't believe when you're with a military aero club back in those days, even up until I think Right Pack closed in 2005 or 6 when Scott's did. That's when the Air Force pretty much got rid of them. You were required to attend, I forget the number every year, but safety meetings every month. You were allowed to miss so many, and I forget that number. That was something I used to check as a supervisor of flying. Hours in time in the aircraft, all of that stuff. Qualified, not, you know, weather and all of that. And, yeah, I sat there, read through that, went, wow. Because I could see my stupid butt doing that. Yeah, I'll never forget the landing. Hey, we've never done that here. Yeah, we belly landed once or twice. Or actually caught it just before touchdown and whoop, back up to get the gear down. So, another thing, remember, single engine flying. Keep the gear out on takeoff. It's not a matter of once your positive rate of climb, bring the gear up. It's positive rate of climb plus high enough that if you lose that little spinning thing up front, the engine and the prop, you can get the gear back down and land. It's I want to say 10-second process, so you got to be thinking 10 seconds minimum ahead of your plane. I think it's 5 up, 5 down, something like that. And so yeah, it's better to just keep the gear out till you know for sure you can't make the runway, then bring them up. Not like an airliner where you want to get cleaned up as quickly as you can at the right speeds. Landing gear, positive rate of climb. Usually by about 1,000 to 2,000 feet, you're high enough to start bringing the flaps in, and fast enough. So, but anyway, there she is, the Piper Arrow 3 from Ronda. Now there is another one out there from Just Flight. I thought about downloading it and doing a comparison. What would really be cool side-by-side sim flying, but I don't have that. So, but it would be neat to see the differences. And of course, if you didn't know, like all Ronda aircraft, right down here, if you just click on them, the headset comes on it. Ooh, it becomes very, very quiet. Okay, we're getting up to Smyrna, where we're gonna make that turn towards DuPont there in the Philadelphia area. And let's check our DME. Try to see if we didn't change. Looks like 114. Let's try it. Okay, once we make the turn, we got a 30-mile speed run up to the Philadelphia area. So I will be right back. Enjoy with the music. Hey, we're going to have a potential sunset arrival. Be right back. All right, we're back, folks. Hope you all are enjoying this little jaunt from North Carolina up to Jersey. Hopefully your Christmas preparations are going well. Christmas gifts and food and all of that lovely stuff that goes along. You've gotten. So, because Santa makes his run in a couple of days. All right, we are gonna switch the tanks here. Oh, we'll give it about 2 or 3 more gallons, and then we'll switch over. Yeah, no, it's, you know, you're talking gallons now, folks. We're not talking pounds like we do in the airliners, which is really throws people like me off. I've gotten so used to flying the airliners that when I saw 60 pounds, 300 miles. Okay, 400 pounds. Ooh. Then trying to remember the burn rates. Right now we're at just shy of 12 gallons per hour, which is really a good burn rate. Now you can lean this out. You can pull into 65 or 55% power, as you saw earlier with the charts. And get some range out of this. You can go a good 500-600 miles on a tank, and that's significant, folks. Think about that. We just went this trip is 367 nautical miles, so pretty significant how far we can get on a tank. You know, you just went from North Carolina up into Jersey, and actually northern Jersey. So pretty cool. We could all live in, now could you imagine everyone having planes instead of cars? Oh my, or God, that's a scary thought. All right, let me see. Okay, we got dew point. I know we're not going to get the ATIS. Okay, 3050 is now the altimeter. And out in the distance, there is Philadelphia Airport. Very difficult to see from here, obviously, but yeah, the haze and all makes it kind of hard. But yeah, we are getting along here pretty good. Oh man, a little bit of a long flight today. Even though it's not very long distance wise, it takes time to fly in these smaller aircraft. Many say the funner, and they can have a lot of fun to them. We all learned in them. Those of us that were lucky enough to get some stick time in. Oh, we're getting ready to pass Wilmington. Oh, we're in the Wilmington area. Okay, my bad. DuPont, Wilmington. Okay. But again, Philadelphia, we may catch a glimpse as we get close to Marquee. Very hard for you to see here, I know. But it's just a little bit up right around here. We might get a glimpse of it. There would be Philadelphia. I'm thinking we're going to stay out of sight because we are really not drifting that much closer. Let's put in Modena. No, wait. East Texas sounds like a good one. Pittstown, 16.5, I think it is. $16.5. And then we began to head towards our destination. So we're getting there, folks. Kind of give you an overlay here. All right, so Pittstown is what's on the DME right now, and then it's a straight shot for our airport right up here. I guess that would be central to northern New Jersey. Anyway, we'll be heading up that way, Easton, Allentown area, and we're getting good frames, 40 frames per second, so we're doing good there. Lancaster out here, Reading just a little north of there. So we are on the outskirts of the city of Philadelphia. So I hope you've enjoyed. We've had a fun flight for these 3 hours or so. Stream time, we've been up and running just shy of 3 hours. So it'll probably be about 3.5, close to 4 hours by the time we're shut down, calling it a day. But I really do hope you've enjoyed. It has been a sure blast to fly this. I'm gonna try something, probably regretting it here. Wait a minute, it's right there. $30.48. Pittstown. And then we'll set up for Sky Manor and go from there. All right, we're gonna make the turn at Marque, and then en route we'll make the fuel change. Okay, engine looks good. All right, not a bad flight. IFR 5,000 feet. Now, granted, had we been on X-Plane 12's ATC, we would have been a lot busier, flipping channels and this and that. Something maybe to think about next flight with the Arrow. But currently we're getting 127 out of it, and we're right at 75% power. And we've been doing pretty good for 350, 60-mile flight. So I hope you've enjoyed. That's the key. You know, I can enjoy it as much anytime I go up and fly. It's fun. But it's you, the consumer, I'm more worried about if you've enjoyed the flight or not. Hey, so let us know. If you're watching us on YouTube, we always love comments. Let us know. If you're watching us here on Twitch, hey, shoot us something in the text. Love to hear you. If not, join us on Discord. Fire away. Love to hear from you. This is one of my favorite real-life general aviation aircraft to fly. The Piper Warrior and Archer were the other two I flew a lot, and I did do some Cessna 172 slash, oh, what the heck, the T-40s, T-44 in the military they called them. I forget, but anyway, we had both, that's why. I'm not a huge... I get the high wing, why people like them for taking pictures, looking at the ground and all. I've always liked the low wing. Just feels like a plane to me. You put it above me, still a plane, yeah, but call me old-fashioned. But anyway, but just don't call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. But anyway, we'll just keep rolling in. We're getting into Pittstown here in about 5 minutes, and then it's on to our destination. Okay, I am also going to lower this one down. Yeah, we'll keep it at 40. What is it, 50? 50. We'll keep it at 50 until we cross Pittstown, then we'll drop it. But again, we've had a great time. Just a fun flight. Now, let me, for those that are new to the, flight, Johnston Regional Airport I chose. Yes, there was a TV show related, not related to it, but parts of it was filmed there. I just loved where you saw us sitting. Granted, looks different in the real world. It's an airport I would really love to venture off and really take a look, because it looked like 3 levels and a restaurant in there, and it really looked cool. Like I said, I would really love to venture and see this airport. So that's why we chose it, a unique looking airport. And Sky Manor, I have relatives that live nearby, so I thought, what the heck, let's head on in there. All right, we are approaching Pittstown. curious. Oh, looky there. All right, 30, 44, still clear skies, 10-mile of visibility. A little bit of a crosswind landing, but should be fun. Okay, about to cross Pittstown. Mako, was that Major Colonel 220918? Hey, welcome aboard. Thanks for the follow. We sure appreciate you. Okay, we're on course. Final leg. As we're approaching Sky Manor Airport, Piper Arrow. There's a couple things that the Thronda, I get around. The big beacon on top, they weren't that big. Unless some of them were. I'm pretty sure most aren't. The big windows as well, they aren't that pronounced on the Arrow as they are here. But overall, Thronda has done a really magnificent job with this aircraft. All right, let me take a look at my flight plan here. Okay, Zuvi is when we'll begin our descent for the airport. Probably, if possible, we'll enter left traffic and just VFR it in. But we'll see. But yeah, our next fix ahead of us is... Okay, time to dial down one. So right about here is where we'll start our descent, and Atlanta will work our way through the pattern. And we're going to descend. Now let's see. We'll try to hang at about 2,000 feet through the pattern. Actually, we may do right traffic for the... no, we need to do left. There's an airport to the north. So yeah, we'll swing off as soon as we see it. Start getting some bearings. What are we in here? Oh, New York City. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what all these white lines are. What are we? Whose big airspace is here? Is there nothing here? So the Delaware River's there. Okay. That would be a good reference point to come out and then start work. I really don't want to work in between. Okay, and as we cross this airport, we'll begin a slow descent to about 2,500 feet. If memory serves, I thought it was a red switch down here. Could be this switch right here to override the landing gear. Could be the manual release. And they just fall out. You just wiggle the plane to get them to lock. All right, let's do it, folks. Guess what it's time for? Okay, we're going to do a nice gentle descent to 2,500. North end of this lake, we could begin to see our airport. Though I think the cross beam there on the cockpit will be in the way. I got one beacon. I don't know if that's ours or not. Our airport should be over in this area. There's the airport. Sky Manor area traffic. Arrow November 1089 Quebec, entering a left downwind for runway 25. And Sky Manor traffic 1089 Quebec, turning final for 25. Okay, that is a taxiway. Sky Manor traffic, November 1089, Quebec, off 25 to the ramp. All right, welcome into Sky Manor. Some T-hangers, I think, over here. We'll head on down to the main ramp. Hope you enjoyed. That was a fun flight. We'll get the total time here in a minute. But anyway, not certain when the next flight will be. Thursday's kind of probably not gonna happen. We'll be one out of town. Friday, maybe not. We'll see. And then I got to work Saturday. So for sure, probably not Saturday. But, you know, we'll just kind of play it by ear, see what we can do. Yeah, we'll just head on down here. Now, there, you know, one thing I do like about this airport, it's one of those $100 burger places you hear about in aviation. The burgers are not $100, but it costs $100 to get there. Because to fire something like this up, get it down there, you will probably spend close to $100. All right, self-serve gas as always expected here. Let's pull this out of the way. Let's see, parking brake set. All right, flaps retracted, electric fuel pumps off, avionics now can go off. Electrical switches. Okay, everything's off, gear down, 3 green, okay. Mixture rich, props full. Throttle to idle or closed, however you want to read it. Fuel off. Magnetos to off. Master switch off. Welcome, welcome, one and all. to Sky Manor Airport. Oh, and we got a nice sunset behind us. Looky there. And all right, we are secured for the night. Welcome again, folks. Hope you enjoyed. It's been a pleasure flying from Johnston Regional Airport to Sky Harbor. I hope you all enjoyed. All right, let's get down to it. Now, we did not fly on anyone's ACARS system. So there's what I'm looking for. Sorry, folks. Okay. So let's look at what Saitek brought in on us. All right, we'll complete the flight. $371 miles, 180 feet a minute at 63 knots and 1.7 Gs. A little rough on the landing. We'll talk about something here in a minute. But 2 hours, 51 minutes, according to Saitek. Looking here. Actually, not a bad pattern. The only bad thing is, yeah, we were way left of the center line. 180, 63, 1.7. That's the only downer to the whole flight. We're parked somewhere in there. And by the way, this airport is not up to date in Saitek. Why? Because there is a taxiway. That's right. These plots of land are part of, trying to look here to see if they do come around. Nope. An aviation live-in area. So yeah, pretty cool. That's another reason I like this airport. That you can live on it, fly out of it, you know, pretty cool. So hope you did. Bad Attitude Afternoon, welcome in Stretch. Thank you, sir. All right, and over to the unofficial scorekeeper, 165 feet a minute, 62 knots at 1.3 Gs. Gives you an idea of what we had to fly. The ickiness to the west of us. Ugh. And let's complete the flight. All right, the unofficial scorekeeper here at Toolkit. 3-hour flight, 342 miles, 91 kilograms of go-go juice. 1.3, 165, which we already know. Here comes the bad news. I did a good fighter landing. We're not in a fighter, though. 524 feet down the runway of a 2,900-foot runway. That's actually not bad. 11 feet off the center line, and it is 50 feet wide. Again, not bad, but could be troublesome. Go figure. All right, hang on a second. Let me see if they have it. Nope, they don't have it connected up yet. But yeah, you buy property here on this airport, you are expected to build a hangar with your house and all that good stuff. So it's kind of cool. I know in my lifetime, one, I can't afford to live out there anyway. This is Jersey we're talking about, folks. This isn't. Yeah, you're going to spend some money. But again, if you're in the area of this airport, there is a really good restaurant here. The world famous $100 burgers. Take your airplane, fly in, go eat a burger, fly back. That's $100 easily out of your wallet before you spend on the burger. So, all right. Overall, the numbers, though, do look good. This was fun. Like I said, it has been a very long time since we took up. Did I even bring some Toolkit in? Oh my goodness, I don't think I did. Okay, there you go. I just realized. So you can see where we touched down. Like I said, a beautiful fighter landing. Unfortunately, we're not a fighter aircraft. We should have been more to the center line. We were working towards it, but the wheels grabbed the ground quicker than that. Which still is always a good thing, but we had a pretty good landing. All right. Well, I want to say thank you. Thank you for flying with us. It's Christmas week. I appreciate any and all time y'all can give us. And if we get time, I always like that. I'm trying to find the click spot. Hang on. Where are you? Okay. I'm done trying to just do it. Ooh, that didn't work either. What? Okay, just be that way, airplane. Anyway, we're on the ground here, Sky Manor. Glad to have flown with you all today. It's been a fun flight. Great 3 hours. Got airborne pretty quick and enjoyed a nice IFR outing from Johnston Regional Airport, North Carolina, up here to Sky Manor. Folks, y'all have a Merry Christmas, and we will try to get a flight in if time allows between now and Christmas. But if it doesn't, just remember Jesus humbled himself even further, going so far to actually die a criminal's death on a cross. If you read the Phillips version of Philippians 2:8 or the Message, it really amplifies this verse. I mean, real. And that may be what the word is. It's more like a commentary of it. And how Jesus left heaven, left King of Heaven, came down to us, not as a king, as a baby, and knew he would leave on a cross. Goal to rid the earth of sin. And he did. He rose from the grave, sinless, sits at the right hand of God the Father. And if you read those two other versions from the Phillips or the Message, you get a really good gospel message out of it. So y'all keep that in mind when you sit down Thursday, start opening those presents and realize what Jesus has given you. Jesus is still alive, sitting at the right hand of God our Father. Many of the other gods worshipped out there in the world aren't so lucky. So enjoy Christmas. God bless. We'll see you on and when we can get our next flight in. God bless.